Good morning. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope that you are doing well and that you're having a good start to your day or ending to your day whenever you're watching this. If you would like to subscribe or share or like this video, that would help me. So I just want to talk a little bit about this Pisces full moon. It's at the very, very end of Pisces. It's at the 28th degree. And whenever there's a full moon, the moon opposes the sun. So there's like this healthy tension created between opposite poles, for lack of a better word. And the sun right now is in Virgo, which has been a really, at least for me and for most of the people that I know, has been a healthy opportunity for us to get our shit together, to get organized, to orient ourselves to whatever reality is, which I believe is subjective for each person. Everybody has their own little universe that they're operating with. And the moon in Pisces, so, Virgo is like tasks and lists and routines and our health. And, the Virgo Pisces axis is the axis of service. It's just the signs of Virgo and Pisces show up in a different way to be of service to others. So this Pisces full moon is at the very end of Pisces. It's in the Scorpio decan, which means, so every sign is divided up into 3 different components. And there's like the first 10 degrees, the second 10 degrees, and the third 10 degrees, and they all have like a different sub-ruler. So this Pisces full moon, as well as Neptune right now, is in the Scorpio decan, which means that it's almost just like a lot of stuff coming up out of the abyss. And it's like the unconscious mind. It's like the deep recesses where we house a lot of our soul memory, as well as a lot of our fears, the things that we're avoiding, things like that. So one of my suggestions for today is if you have any friends who have mental health challenges or are in addiction recovery, this is a good day, I would say, to check on those friends to make sure that they're okay. If you are in a state of recovery or mental health, like if you're recovering from something or having some mental health challenges, this is a really good day to like take really good care of yourself. Because I think that when we are exposed to the stuff of the abyss, the stuff of the void, and all that can arise out of that space, which is pretty much everything, not everybody handles that very well, right? Like there's people who much prefer the Virgoan side of life, right? Like this reality, what I can control in this here and now, and what I put in my body. And I think that these are all really good things too. Like, I think that there's some aspect of that is necessary here. And, I think that there are some people who really enjoy, I would put myself in this category, who really enjoy the abyss, who like to confront aspects of themselves that maybe are like not very becoming, or like it's the shadow self, I would say, is like the last degree of the last decan of Pisces. So if you feel comfortable confronting yourself, your deeper aspects, this is a great day to do it. And I wrote a blog, I'll put it in the description below, but there are some really positive aspects that we're starting this week with and then closing this week with. Like there's a lot of trines between air signs this week, and you can read about it in the description below. I wrote all about it. Good for connection, community, some for like focus and getting things done and deliberating and all of that stuff, right? So I would say that this Pisces full moon can bring things up, like like fears, like memories, like things that we are avoiding. And then what we do with that is really up to us. So we can choose to, and I see this a lot right now. I see it so much right now, just like this projection of that stuff that we are afraid of. Like needing to find someone to blame for whatever is going on within us, whatever our feeling is. And I also have noticed that there's some people who are just really doing the work, who are going inside and integrating what can be integrated and releasing what can be released. And I think that's a really, really good thing to do today. And I want to read to you the degree symbolism by Ellias Lonsdale. So this says, Balinese dancers wearing elaborate gold costumes, scintillating performance, learning by art all of the ways to perfect the earth dance, elaborately and ritualistically devising and setting up cycles, projects, programs, and trainings to master skills, to develop missing areas, and to make up for what are felt to be gaps and gaping holes. Remedial practice, going back to go forward, relentlessly pursuing perfection. You are granted a sensibility that knows and can recognize anywhere the real thing, the fulfilled prototype, tyrannically beset by the need to embody that archetype no matter what. Putting yourself through hell to make it happen. No sacrifice is too great. A virtual masochism of submission to programs, trials, and cycles. Trancing out on discipline and constraint, yet you are ultimately inspired and infused with a marvelous and even a spectacular self-witnessing capacity and self-reinventing skill that does work if you stay with it forever and refuse to hear of anything less, no matter how crazy it momentarily seems. So yeah, I mean, that really sums it up. I think so that's the degree that we're working with. That's the degree of the full moon. I may actually read Virgo's 28th degree as well to kind of see what the contrast is. So this says, a witch preparing magic mushrooms. Within the delicate formative stages of major departures into the unknown, there is encountered an extraordinary task and lesson that detains you a long while. It becomes self-evident that it is everything that comes before that makes a difference. There must be a fully attuned magical sensibility to make the future possible. Coming to this requires arduous discipline and elaborate ritual internal initiation. This becomes a labyrinth of discipleship and apprenticeship that you wander through the maze, discovering everything that you ever needed to know. All is played out within. There is no need to make anything happen on the outer. You are assigned to empty yourself out, to strip everything away, and to become invisible. And if you excel at your craft, so many ventures and initiatives will be seeded that this inner plane's total mobilization will prove to be more fruitful and productive than any premature thrusts of outer mind, no matter how impressive or seemingly necessary. The entire path lies well within and needs no surface success to substantiate itself. Wow, I love that. And I love that the two different degrees seem to both, rely on and be sort of contingent upon discipline. And it's funny because this is something that I've personally been working with for, the last few years. I imagine that, a Pisces moon person is not very strong at being disciplined naturally. But the last few years, it's become very evident that in order to not only stay centered, but to continue to have access to more memory, which only helps to support what I'm doing in this life, what my plans-ish for this life are. It does take a certain level of discipline and really like being willing to sit with myself and do the things too, like purification of the body and other things like that. Like I've been on quite a journey with that in the last few years. And I think that discipline does ultimately make a difference. And I think that this week we'll see, we'll see the necessity for discipline, especially in our practices that keep us right, that keep us well. And I'll close this out with and also if you want to set your intentions, write a list of what you're grateful for, like full moons can be good for that. I don't recommend, and I say this in every video, but I don't recommend necessarily like worshiping the moon or like giving energy to the moon, but like how I recommend working with the moon is kind of like allowing that to help you to track your cycles, to track your life. How have your intentions that you set on the last full moon blossomed into now? It's like the celestial timekeeper, like the real timekeeper. So I would say that, I just want to like close out with a story that was really interesting. So I'm working on natural vision correction. I'm doing like eye yoga exercises, and these glasses are a few paces. If my vision is like legally blind, these are a few notches up, and my eyes are indeed adjusting to them very quickly. It's interesting. But there were a couple of days in there last week where I was water fasting and I did not wear my glasses at all for like 2 days. And the amount of like mystical experiences that I had during those 2 days were pretty outstanding. And, I'm not a doctor, I'm not like a nutritionist, but I really love fasting. There's something about that. And it's in every spiritual tradition. When you fast, it's like you like really clear out on a cellular level what is maybe keeping you from you. And it's, super helpful from what I've discovered and what I found. So I was sitting outside and I was just watching like the skyline. There's some aspect of like vision training that benefits from like looking at trees, looking at clouds, looking at trees, looking at clouds, right? And so I was sitting there on my porch, and it's like I was pulled through the chair, down through like this wormhole, water and fire, and then down into nothing. Like literally, it was nothing. It was darkness, but it was beautiful, to be honest. I mean, it did not feel, I've been kind of sharpening my senses and my discernment out of necessity in the last few years. So usually when I have some kind of experience that feels, handled or put upon, I can kind of feel that. And this did not feel that way. This felt like my spirit was like pulling me in there. And it's fascinating because the voice, I heard my own voice. It wasn't any external voice. And it was like, this is the place that you are to create. The great nothing, like the deep, the void. People have different names for it. And I've heard it described before. I've always had some challenge in accessing that space. It felt like a womb. I don't know how else to describe it. It was wonderful. And in that space, I sort of saw what I desired to manifest, or, whatever word you want to describe. It's like, that was the place outside of all time, all space. And it was the space of pure possibility. I mean, what comes out of a womb, it's like, it's the space of creation. So I had that experience, and it was so rich and has really fulfilled me for months now. And so I just wanted to share that. That's a very Piscean, thing to have happen. And so I just wanted to share that. Be mindful of of your projections today. If you are naturally a little bit more sensitive, you'll want to take a long meditation or a bath or like some kind of something that helps you to release. Because I also have a lot of Virgo in my chart, I have challenges at times surrendering and receiving. But this is the full moon from my perspective to surrender. This is the time like to really like release, you know, the need to like control with your like the frontal parts of your mind, would be my suggestion. And yeah, just check in with yourself. I mean, you'll know like what you need if you are in tune with yourself, you will know. But yeah, I would say that this is like, there's a lot of magic, both in the sign of Virgo and the sign of Pisces. Like Virgo is very like green witchery, like herbs and what is tangible, what is real, that we can kind of see. Like if you were to like burn some herbs or something, that's like a very like Virgoan thing to do. But Pisces is very also magical in a way that's very cosmic, and in a way that helps us trace where we actually come from before we got to Earth. So I think that all of the experiences and the memories that we have stored all the way in the recesses of our brain and in our cells, in our bones, everything connects to something that we've experienced already that is going on now, either like in terms of like micro, like relational things, or in terms of the macro, like what the world is experiencing. We have been through some level of this already. And I think that it's a good day to kind of to draw up some of those recesses and to draw up some of those inner stirrings and to really bring them out and to look at them, not to foist them upon a manufactured enemy, but to sit with yourself today. And yeah, I hope that you're having a good day. I hope that you have a great week. Read my blog. There's tons of interesting aspects in the middle of the week that could feel like change, you know. And yeah, I hope that you have a great day. Thank you. Bye.